Oh, damn. Hey, everyone. Uh, you know, the liberals truly have, ever since they've come to power. And listen, let me preface anything I'm going to say right now is I'm not a fan of the conservatives. I'm not a fan of any political parties, to be honest with you. Well, I mean, other than the Libertarian Party of Canada, they'd probably be reasonable, but you don't hear much about them, and they're never going to come to power until Canadians finally get fed up to the point where I'm at. But the liberals really have, let's just be honest here, folks. The liberals have basically shredded any pretense of a social contract. They are now, and I've coined it in my past videos. You can look through them. You just type in the Great Replacement, and you'll see I've covered this topic multiple times in the past. But whether it's the legal migration that now is to the tune of what, 1 million over 3 years, or even prior to that, like 300 plus thousands per year. They were trying to push it. Even at one point, they were suggesting they might try to get up to 450,000 per year. Now think about the population of Canada, 36 million. Think about how many of them are working age people in the population that pay taxes, right? To pay for all this mess. How many of them now work for the government? What is it? Almost 4.2 million. Take the people that are on welfare, take the people that are on disability. Like I said, take the people that are 18 or under, take the people that are on social assistance, on pensions, and think about how small of the pool of those 36 million are actually paying for all this shit. Paying for everything. Those in the private sector. It's probably upwards of 3 in 5 Canadians that in some way, in some capacity, are on the doles of the government. That the private taxpayer has to be forced to subsidize or pay for their livelihood. And now, and that's just that's just the legal immigrants that we're seeing. And I mean, the studies are out there. Even Stats Kansas suggest so far 60% of these people that are coming here are economic migrants. So they're either competing with Canadians for those jobs, right? And I mean, if you come from a place that you were used to getting paid a couple bucks a day, well, you're willing to work for a whole lot cheaper than, old stock Canadians. Or when the housing market comes, if you're willing to live with 10, 12 people in one house, well, you're going to have a better chance of being able to bid or get that house and pay for that house than a typical 4 or 5 family Canadian, like typical old stock Canadian once again. And I mean, it could go on and on if you think of how many different scenarios. It's a detriment for the domestic population, especially the working poor, the blue collar class. It's always a devastating and negative effect on you when you have mass influx of even just the legal immigrants. But then we have a massive amount of illegals that we're seeing. What was it reported just the other day? Just in one weekend here recently, and it's still fairly cool out there. But in Quebec, they had 500 or 600 just in one weekend, 500 new illegal immigrants. I mean, they say on average, that's about 50, 60 a day. There's 365 days a year. You do the math. That's on average. Then they have, spikes, like in the warmer parts of the year. Then you have, these, like the Syrian refugees. I mean, like I say, in the run of a year, you're upwards with the 300 plus thousand. Then your Syrian refugees and your illegal migrants. You're probably in excess of 400,000 a year, right? So just over a couple of years, you're already adding another million of people that are compete for, like I say, your jobs, your houses, everything else, the roads, the congestion, and living off the doles. A large percent of them end up living on the doles. Then we get the criminal aspect of it. I mean, it's just, like I say, that's bad enough, right? You already know this stuff. That's bad enough. And like I say, look through my past videos or just type a search into Google and you get lots of information regarding all that stuff. But in addition to that, as if that's not bad enough, headline out of CBC News, British Columbia, Canadians split over accepting Dreamers from U.S. survey finds. So the Dreamers, and I mean, no one's got anything against these kids that were brought to the U.S. illegally by their parents. So their parents were criminals, right? That's just a truth statement. That's just reality. So, but now these young people are now adults. And they call them the Dreamers. And I guess there's, 800,000 at least of them? So pretty close to 1 million of them. And Trump's down there trying to negotiate with the Democrats and trying to figure out, well, we'll let them stay, but only if you allow me to prevent even more of them coming, like, the border wall and all this stuff. But it turns out that we, Canadians, may very well end up, maybe Trump and maybe the Democrats will all win, that they get to live and reside in North America and live off the doles of the taxpayer, except it may very well end up being the Canadian taxpayer because Trudeau, like he said, he's saying, come on in. Hey, the fucking taxpayers in Canada, don't worry about them. And yeah, sure, we're too indebted now, so it's not the taxpayers alive that are going to pay for these people, but hey, the taxpayers' kids and their grandkids, in the future, they'll pay for all this mess. What a fucking entitled piece of shit that guy is. Like, think about that concept. I mean, just think about how immoral that is. People that haven't even taken their first breath are going to be forced or supposedly obligated to pay for all this mess, for all this, the great replacement. So young kids are going to be paying to replace their parents or even themselves. Yeah, that's going to work out good. Yeah, that's not going to cause any civil strife or conflict in the future, is it? Huh? Like I say, these fuckers they can't see past their own fucking hand from their fucking face. They can't think long enough term other than, in their political terms. That's how they think, in their political terms. How much can I lie or propagate bullshit messaging to the people that'll keep me in power this long? And, hey, if I want another term, maybe I'll have to repeat that same kind of bullshit propaganda one more time. But eventually they'll all be out of office and someone else will come and take their place. But you and I, we don't escape any of this shit, whether it's the Conservatives, NDP, or Liberals. They force us to be on the hook no matter what their particular preference may be. No matter how they want to socially or economically enslave us, they all want to do that. It's just they have a different preference in what or who benefits from that forced wealth or income redistribution. Angus Reid survey finds most Canadians say DACA program should remain, but fewer would welcome those displaced. Yeah, it's the same as usual. And that could be basically expanded out to, I have so much empathy for these people, but hey, will you take them in your house? Oh, no, I can't. I don't have any room. Ask for all these fucking people that truly, you want to play your benevolence thing. You want to play like you're so empathetic towards these people. Well, are you willing to go and pay for them yourself? No? Okay, well then stop trying to force the fucking rest of us to do that. You immoral pieces of shit trying to play your little, I'm so benevolent, I'm so empathetic game, when in reality you're not empathetic and you're not benevolent in any way. You're just empathetic to strangers, but very hate-filled towards your own fucking peeps in Canada that are going to, or your successive offspring that are going to be forced to deal with all this shit economically or socially. A BC Public Opinion Research Foundation says the majority of Canadians believe the U.S. should preserve a program allowing the children of undocumented migrants to remain in the country, while far fewer are willing to receive those who may become displaced. A new public opinion survey from the Angus Reid Institute finds 64% of Canadians say America's Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program should remain. DACA was created in 2012 under former Democratic President Barack Obama. People who reside in the U.S. under the program are often called Dreamers, after the Development, Relief, and Education for Alien Minors Act, DREAM. It was designed for individuals brought to the United States as children by parents who were undocumented immigrants. Illegal. Let me go back up to who this fucking dipshit that put this fucking article, because I need to refer to this person with the real name. Chad Pawson. I get that you work for the CBC, Chad Pawson, but when someone breaks the law, it's called illegal. That's how the rest of us have to be referred to when we break laws. So let's try to be a little bit moral and legally consistent here. They're illegal. The program shielded the individuals from deportation and gave them work permits. Dreamers are allowed to live in the U.S. providing they graduate from school and have no criminal record, but DACA has been under attack recently from U.S. President Donald Trump. Over Easter weekend, Trump announced there will not be a deal on legalizing the status of young adults, immigrants known as Dreamers, declaring the U.S.-Mexico border is becoming more dangerous. And it shows a Donald Trump tweet. These big flows of people are all trying to take advantage of DACA. They want in on the act. Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, I mean, think about it. Look at the message that the Democrats or the leftists are sending. It's like, come on in and, like I say, you'll be well taken care of. We'll force, whether it's the American people or the Canadian people, we'll force them to take care of you. Don't worry, but come on in and vote for us, right? Fuck it. I tell you, man. Bunch of corrupt criminals and petty tyrants who try to fly under the banner of benevolence. Oh, these are the people that make me fucking sick to my stomach. Meanwhile, according to the Angus Reid Institute survey, 38% of Canadians say this country should offer DACA recipients the opportunity to come to here, while 34% say the offer should not be made. The rest, 28%, are unsure. The opportunity to come to here? Little proofreading, man. Little proofreading. You're supposed to do this. This is supposed to be your job, so you should hold yourself to a little higher standard. And I'm pretty sure that 38% would represent those who work for government or who benefit from government, or the crony corporations that are salivating and chomping at the bit at the prospect of having even more cheap labor that they can use and deny naturalized Canadians any ability to be able to negotiate for higher wages going forward. And you just know those that work for government just love it because, hey, they're all bureaucratic. Hey, they get a job. Their job will be all about filling out the paperwork to bring these people in, or, putting them on the government doles, or subsidizing their incomes, or giving them basically freebie loans to start up a business. I've heard even that reported in the past. So, yeah, all kinds of people are employed and benefiting from this, but it's all the wrong people. It's all those who are parasites themselves and living off the dole, or living off the proceeds of forced income or wealth distribution from the lowly wage serfs that are forced to pay for all this stuff, namely, AKA, the taxpayers. Canadians' views vary significantly dependent on their familiarity with the DACA program, age, and political leanings, the Institute said in a news release. Last September, Ontario Independent Senator Ratna Omi-Devar said Canada could gain from the Trump administration's decision to end the program. Yeah, no doubt. Canada as the government could gain, or the crony corporations, yeah, they could gain too. Canadians, the average tax serf, those who have to, like I say, compete for their jobs, compete for the housing, compete for everything, or be forced to subsidize these people to the tune of 2/3 of them now. Yeah, they're not benefited, are they? No, actually, they're going to suffer detrimentally as a result. But these people don't care about you. They don't care about the serfs. They don't care about the average taxpayer. You're just pawns that they can use at their whim. She said many of them speak fluent English, have been educated in the U.S., and have work experience. The estimated 800,000 young people who migrated to the U.S. illegally with their parents and are now living there under the DACA program face deportation to home countries they may now have little connection with. It's not my fucking problem. Sorry. The empathy ends when it's being used under this kind of pretense. Yeah, I have no empathy. I might have empathy to those people, but listen, not if you're willing to allow government to steal from me. I can't be empathetic towards people that want to use the pretense of government or the gigantic gun in the room to forcefully take from me or my offspring or their offspring or future generations. Sorry, that's where my benevolence ends. That's where my bleeding heart truly ceases to function. That's where I shut that fuck off and I go stone cold. If you ask people to help people voluntarily, yeah, I'm right there with you. You force them to do it through the power of government. Yeah, the whole pretense of benevolence there from anyone. That's out the window, and now it's just a battle now. Now it's just a fight to survive. Now it's just all about the struggle. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.